My name is Sandra Stanley. Today is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. The time is 11:20 a.m. I am interviewing Mrs. Margaret Bullock Powell Purvis. I said that backwards. Margaret Bullock Purvis Powell. This recording is taking place in the home of Miss Powell in High Point, North Carolina. The purpose of the recording is twofold. One, to preserve the primary source historical information about Princeville School and the town of Princeville from a personal recollection. Two, to supplement information that has been researched and collected for the Princeville School Research Project. Good morning, Miss Powell.
Good morning.
What is your full name?
My full name is Margaret Bullock Purvis Powell.
What is your age? Only if you're comfortable giving your age.
I am 86 years old.
Where do you currently live? What town? What city?
High Point, North Carolina.
Have you lived in other places?
Yes.
What other places have you lived in?
Town of Princeville, Raleigh, North Carolina, Newport News, Virginia, and Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. What was your career?
Teaching.
And tell me a little bit about your career.
I am a retired teacher holding a Bachelor of Arts from Shaw University, a Master of Science in Education from Brooklyn College, CUNY, New York, and further studies in teaching the gifted child.
Great. Okay, do you have children?
One son.
Okay. And who was in your family during your childhood?
My father, mother, two sisters, and two brothers.
Okay. And what was your family like when you were growing up?
I had a very happy family life growing up, the oldest of 5 children. Both parents worked, as did most parents in my town and neighborhood, but there was always time for fun. Going to the movies, going to the beach, the state fair, basketball games, football games, going to church where I played the piano for the choir and taught Sunday school. Big holiday celebrations.
Sounds good. Sounds like a great childhood. Did you have close extended family around?
Yes, I had very close extended family. My cousins lived next door. My other cousin lived across the street. We were a very close-knit family and lived in the same neighborhood.
Okay. And what was your neighborhood and your neighbors like when you lived in Princeville?
When I lived in Princeville, it was a wonderful, safe neighborhood. Kind and friendly neighbors. No need to lock your door. It was always open. The neighbors were willing to share from our gardens, help with home repairs. Whenever or whatever you needed someone for help, assistance was always available. Always encouraging the youth in our community, and they took pride in all the youth accomplishments. I was very lucky to live in a neighborhood like this.
Great. Who are some of your childhood friends when you were living as a child in Princeville?
Some of my childhood friends were Selma and Claretha Ward, Mamie, Vera, and Joseph Everett, Gloria and Ermadine Harold, John Russell Little, better known as Peter Rabbit, Vera Mae Hudson, Glen Esther Vines, Margarella and Cullen Bridges, William Ivey, and Eugene Norfleet.
Okay. So, Miss Powell, where did you go to school as a child?
I went to Princeville School, grades 1 through 5, and the W.A. Patilla Elementary and High School, grades 6 through 12.
Okay. And as a child, did any of your friends go to the same school that you attended?
Yes, my friends attended the same school.
Am I correct that most children that lived in Princeville actually went to Princeville School?
Yes, most children went to Princeville School.
How did you and your friends get to and from school?
We walked, and may I say it was a long walk, more than 2 miles one way.
Oh, that was a long walk. So, what did you and your friends do for fun once you got at school?
We had a lot of fun. We played hopscotch, dodgeball, baseball, jump rope, swung from the monkey bars, and I'll never forget that huge swing hanging from those huge trees.
And what did you do when you got home, or did you do some of the same things with your friends when you played at home?
We did some of the same things. Sometimes we watched a little TV, made sure we do the homework, and there were chores to do. But basically, it was just a great, great growing up.
Sounds good. So let's talk a little bit about your experience as a student at Princeville School. Tell me again, what grades did you attend at Princeville School?
I attended grades 1 through 5.
Okay, at Princeville School.
Yes, because Princeville School, when I was attending, had grades 1 through 5, and later it just had grades 1 through 4.
Okay, all right. And what was it like going to Princeville School?
Being a student at Princeville School was one of the highlights of my life. It was a wonderful experience. The teachers were kind and dedicated. Being in the Glee Club was so much fun. Everyone at Princeville School looked like me, and so it gave me great pride, great sense of pride. I always felt important.
So Miss Purvis, Miss Powell, you said that you were in the Glee Club. Who was over that Glee Club?
Miss Helen Boston, the principal, was over the Glee Club.
Okay. And can you tell me the name? You just said that your principal was Miss Helen Walston. Can you name some of your teachers?
Yes, my first grade teacher was Miss Braswell. My second grade teacher was Miss Fanny Bridges. My third grade teacher and the principal was Miss Helen Boston. And my fourth and fifth grade teacher was Mrs. Pearl Ward Bennett. She taught both fourth and fifth grades.
Oh, okay. And who was your favorite teacher, if you had one? And why was that teacher your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher was Mrs. Pearl Ward Bennett because she was such a creative teacher and she was so much fun.
Now, you did tell me that Miss Bennett also did some special things for you all, like bringing things to school. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, she was so gracious and so kind and helpful. She would bake cookies for us. If many times there were students who needed help at home, there were students who needed some shoes, there was families who really needed food, and she was always there, always bringing things, and she didn't hesitate to ask at the end of the day, if you need something, if your family needs something, let me know.
Sounds good. And tell me a little bit about your other teachers. Can you remember things about some of your other teachers, like Miss Bridges and Miss Bennett? I remember you saying that Miss Bennett even made sure that the boys had baseball equipment to play with during recess.
Yes, and she paid for the equipment. Baseball, basketball, she paid for that herself so that the boys could have extra equipment to play with. Such a kind and generous person. Miss Bridges was also very serious, but kind and very serious about those reading marks. Miss Braswell, my first grade teacher, made learning fun. Miss Helen Walston, as I've said before, was such a gracious, kind, great person. What other principal would take the time to visit every home where children attended Princeville School during the course of the year? Every home was visited.
You told me that she even visited after church.
Yes, She made sure, and she visited after church. And many homes, like where I live, would invite her in the house for dinner after church. She was a community activist, helping in any way she could, giving so much time. Sometimes she didn't have enough time for her own self.
She sounds like a great principal. Tell me, Ms. Powell, are you still friends with any of your classmates or people from your childhood neighborhood?
Yes, I'm friends with some. They live all over Charlotte. They live in New York. A few live in Tarboro, but I'm still friends with them. And it's so great to keep in contact.
Wonderful. And do you remember or do you recall if Princeville School was involved in the community or any community activities?
Yes, Princeville School used to sponsor a community fair. People with crafts could come and sell them. When there were disasters, this is so important, in our community, Princeville School collected and donated food things, money, all kinds of equipment, because in Princeville, many homes were destroyed by fire. We did not have a fire truck. And so it was only the bucket brigade, which was the tin buckets filled with water thrown onto the fire, which did very, very little. And when the flood disasters came, Princeville School collected and donated all kinds of things: food, clothing, and money.
Wonderful. That sounds like everybody was involved with supporting the community, including the school. So thank you for that. And let me ask you, Ms. Powell, did going to Princeville School have any impact on your career choice to be an educator?
Yes, a tremendous impact. My career choice was very intentional. I wanted to be a teacher since I was 6 years old in Miss Braswell's class. My cousin Emily, a retired teacher, taught me to read when I was 4 years old. So when I was in first grade, Miss Braswell allowed me to help some of the students with vocabulary and numbers, and I knew I wanted to be a teacher.
Great, great. So what made you decide to return to Princeville as an educator?
I decided to return to Princeville School as an educator because I thought it would be an honor to teach with teachers who had taught me and teachers who had taught my mother.
Okay, that sounds good. So what was it like then teaching at Princeville School and teaching in the neighborhood where you grew up? You had to have known some of the students there and some of the parents there. What was that like?
I was proud to come back to my old school as a teacher. I was wholeheartedly embraced by the staff and the community, and it was fun.
And you told me a story once about when you got ready to leave home for college, and how you were supported by your neighborhood. Tell me about that.
Oh, yes. I lived in a wonderful neighborhood. On that morning when it was time for me to go to college, when my dad walked out to put my suitcases and my big trunk in the car, my neighbors turned out, and lo and behold, they had boxes with all kinds of goodies, all kinds of baked goods, all kinds of things. And I was so pleased and so happy that at 6 o'clock in the morning, my neighborhood would turn out for a young girl going away from home to a first year of college.
That sounds wonderful. You even got sweet potato pies.
Yes, the best sweet potato pies wrapped up. I tell you, so heartwarming to see. But that's how my neighborhood was growing up.
So here is a question I also want to ask you is how did your childhood and the people you were close to impact your present life?
Having a wonderful childhood with good role models was very important in my life. I was taught by my parents, and of course the neighborhood helped, that you have to remember in life you will be faced with unique challenging experiences, but you must persevere. You must keep a positive attitude. I had a great childhood surrounded by kind, living, loving family and friends, and I'm truly honored and grateful to have had the opportunity to attend Princeville Elementary School.
Is there anything else that you need to share about your experience living in Princeville School?
Yes, just two tidbits. One is my fourth and fifth grade teacher was so creative, and we were studying about the Holland Tunnel and the Lincoln Tunnel, and she brought in things to demonstrate how the tunnel was constructed. The second tidbit is my third grade teacher who encouraged my parents to let me take piano lessons, and I was always so proud and grateful. But she was a person who was always giving. And when she passed away, I was honored to be a flower girl at her funeral.
And that was Miss
Miss
Helen
Helen
Walston.
Yes.
Okay.